Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for Water Cooler Conversations. I am Amanda Quintanilla, Victim Services Specialist with UTRGV Police Department. Today's topic for Water Cooler is acknowledging victims within the legal system in Hidalgo County. We are very lucky today to have Amy Cantu and Serena Scamardo with us. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And considering that there is a whole unit dedicated to domestic violence, it goes without saying that there is a problem. It needs to be addressed. And that's why conversations such as these are very relevant and they're very important. So I'm going to read a disclaimer here, the trigger warning. The content of this discussion can be troubling, especially for the survivors of violence, victimization, or harassment. Please feel free to leave if the discussion triggers an upsetting response. Please treat the session as a safe space and respect the boundaries of others, especially if their views or experiences are clearly troubling to them. And then our next slide here are some objectives. So today we are going to be gaining an understanding of how the legal system is involved in domestic violence issues. We're going to recognize how advocates can be beneficial in the criminal justice process, and we're going to be able to identify available resources in our community. And Priscilla Palacios, the Associate Director of Special Programs with the Office for Advocacy and Violence Prevention, also known as OVAP, will be speaking to two hardworking, amazing, very dedicated individuals. And so, Priscilla, please take it away.
To Water Cooler Conversations today. Amy, Serena, if y'all want to just briefly introduce yourselves.
Yes, I'll go first, Serena, if that's okay. My name is Amy Bayona Cantu. I am the chief of the Domestic Violence Unit here in Hidalgo County. I have been prosecuting for 16 years already. I was given this position as chief last year, September of 2020. And so I love what I do. I love helping victims, and I will continue to do this as much as I can. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us and thank you for the invitation. My name is Serena Rios Camardo. I am the Victims Unit Director here at the Hidalgo County Criminal District Attorney's Office. I actually began my journey with the HCDA as an intern. During my master's program, I was then appointed an advocate position, and then later on appointed this director position. So I'm learning as I go, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share the knowledge that I've gained over the past almost 3 years.
Well, thank you both for joining us today. And right before we begin, I just want to give some information on what domestic violence is. Of course, domestic violence is an violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or partner. It can be a pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain or maintain control over another intimate partner. And of course, it can involve physical, sexual, emotional, psychological threats, stalking, and cyber stalking as forms of the abuse. And of course, it's not just the significant other, but it can include a spouse, dating an intimate partner, a family member, children, or people that you live with in the same household. So as we're getting started here, so Amy, what is the Domestic Violence Unit? And Serena, explain also the Victims Unit, but we'll start with Amy first.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Priscilla. So our Domestic Violence Unit is a team working together to help end the cycle of domestic violence. Our unit includes prosecutors, investigators, advocates, and our legal admin. Currently, we have 6 prosecutors assigned to our unit, although the prosecutors in the district attorney's office, also the felony prosecutors also help handle felony cases. They are not assigned to our unit, but there are felony prosecutors who handle the felony domestic violence cases. At this time, our unit only handles the misdemeanor cases, which is a bigger number of cases that we get. Our advocates, we have 4 advocates. They are the ones who reach out to the victims and offer services throughout our county. And I think Serena is going to talk a little bit more about the services that are offered here in our county. But as part of our unit, we handle any criminal cases. So when a person is arrested, that case gets forwarded here to our office and we prosecute those cases, as well as handling protective orders for victims of family violence, sexual assault, stalking, trafficking, and indecent assault.
And Serena, if you want to answer what your unit does and who makes up your unit.
Definitely. So the Hidalgo County Criminal District Attorney's Office the Victims Unit was established in 2015 under the administration of our current DA, Ricardo Rodriguez Jr. The Victims Unit was created to assist victims of violent crimes in Hidalgo County, and the goal is to continue to assist them throughout the criminal justice process. So we do similar things to what Amy just mentioned, with the exception of the prosecution. We work with the prosecutors that we have in our office, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail as far as specific crimes that we assist with, as well as the process of everything. But typically what occurs here on a day in and day out basis is we have one advocate assigned per felony district court. And they're able to assist all the victims of crime within that specific felony district court. And of course, if needing a little bit more assistance, we do have other advocates to assist, but primarily it's to assist them throughout a variety of different victim services with a variety of different charges. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail later on to get into more specific things, but in a nutshell, that's basically what we do here.
So Serena, I know a lot of the times with the we hear it called Victims Unit, but I know there's advocates within this unit. How many advocates are there, and what's the advocate's role within this unit?
Yeah, so actually throughout our entire office, we have victim advocates throughout the office, and in specific throughout 3 divisions. So we have the Victims Unit, which is my unit, the Domestic Violence Unit, which is Chief Cantu's unit, as well as the Special Crimes Division, which is under Chief Hope Palacios. So in total, we have 18 advocates that expand throughout the entire office. And every felony court has an advocate, and we have advocates that assist at the misdemeanor level as well. So it is a pretty big number that we have, and we're trying our best to continue to grow that because crime doesn't stop. The population continues to grow. So we're going to need to eventually continue to upkeep that. But as of right now, we have advocates that provide victim assistance services for examples of survivors of homicide victims, family violence, sexual assault, stalking, child abuse, child sexual abuse, elder abuse, aggravated assault, human trafficking, and other violent crimes against persons. So even just with that list alone, you can kind of see how heavy our plates are and how full they are at times. But we don't stop. Crime doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Wow, it's great to hear how big and how much the county DA's office has grown. Because just the experience of having advocates, somebody there that they can turn to while they're going through this traumatic experience is just grateful to hear. And I also want to thank you for saying victims of crime. We know a lot of the times when we hear domestic violence, we think most of our cases, because we have seen most of our cases being female, but we do know that males and children are also affected by this crime. So I want to say thank you for acknowledging that and not just pointing out that it's not just women who are affected by this crime, but it's everybody can be affected by it. So I know, Amy, you work closely with Serena, and I'm assuming you work closely with all the different advocates within the units. How does the relationship work between the 2 offices, and where are y'all located? Where can we find you both?
Yes, Priscilla. So yes, Serena and I work very closely together. We actually are working together during this month for our domestic violence awareness events that are happening this month. So we've been really busy this month. Serena's the advocates that are assigned to Serena's unit assist our unit with protective orders as well. There are about I think we've received this year almost 1,600 applications for protective orders. There's only 4 advocates assigned to my unit, so that is a lot for my advocates to do because they do have to contact each of those victims to go through that protective order application. So Serena's unit assists our unit with those applications because it is a high number. We are located on the 3rd floor of the district attorney's office. Serena's located on the 2nd floor, but whenever either one of us needs any assistance, we're always there for each other. Our office is located, the address is going to be 100 East Cano here in Edinburgh. And as I mentioned, she's on the 2nd floor. We are on the 3rd floor. Right now, because of the pandemic, victims are allowed to come in by appointment. We are taking protective order applications over the phone at this time. The number to call if you know of somebody or if you need a protective order application, that number is going to be 956-292-7613.
I believe we have this information. Oops, if I can get control of my PowerPoint. I believe we have this information here to show to everybody.
Yes.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I know sometimes we don't have those numbers off the top of my head, our heads, and it's always great to hear and have those numbers available for anybody that's going to need these services.
Yes.
So I know driving into campus today, I saw that fancy new courthouse there. Do you all plan to move into that new courthouse as well, or are you all sticking to the building where you're at right now?
We are going to stay here in the building where we are currently located. Our building was remodeled a few years ago, so we are going to be staying here. Right now, our office covers 3 floors. This building is 5 floors, but I think eventually some of the offices that are located in this building, one of them being the Court of Appeals, will be moving into the new courthouse. So I think eventually we will have the entire building for the DA's office. But at this time, we are not going to be moving into the new courthouse.
And just to give everybody just a more general direction, they're right across the new courthouse there, so they're really easy to find. They're in a great location. They're very close to helping everybody around there. So Serena, and I know you mentioned this a little bit earlier on how advocates assist the victim. What kinds of services are y'all able to assist them with? What else are they able to do besides be there for them during the intake process?
Mm-hmm. So we do have advocates that assist with a variety of different services, and those include restitution. So that could be any type of monetary hit that victim suffered because of the crime that the defendant created, I guess, that he, violated whatever it is that, or he or she violated whichever charge that was. Also the crime victims compensation through the Office of the Attorney General. So that basically is a funding throughout the state of Texas that assists victims of crime throughout just our state of Texas. Even if it happens outside of Texas, but they're Texas residents, they are able to assist as well. So we all have had specialty training with the OAG in order to be able to conduct those applications and have them expedited as well. We also offer court accompaniment. So there are some, right now we are doing stuff via Zoom and via YouTube as far as court-wise. So we do assist our victims with YouTube links or Zoom links, or the ability to make their victim impact statement should they be at that part of their process. But also whenever we're in court, we actually physically go with the victim, so that way the victim does not have to go alone. They don't have to go through that process, obviously in a more nervous state. So we do try to alleviate some of that stress and some of that anxiety for them. We also assist with victim impact statements and showing them what they are and the importance of them, and also explaining the process of if an individual is sentenced to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, this document can be beneficial when that individual is wanting to be released early. So all of these different services that maybe we see in movies, or maybe we're just not aware of it at all, that's what we're here for. We're here to basically hold your hand and guide you through it, because we see everything on a daily basis, and our citizens may not. So we're here to kind of fill that gap and bridge it to where you're just as knowledgeable as we are by the time your case is disposed. And like Amy mentioned, a protective order assistance, we do help out with her unit. Her unit does a little bit more than ours do, but every time that they do need something, or my advocates are able to assist, we do go ahead and help out in that way. And lastly, we have the Victim Information and Notification Everyday app. So basically what that is, or it's called VINE for short. This is a link that you register your number on there. You provide them with a case number. Basically, you're connecting, hey, I am the victim on this case. This is my phone number. I want notifications on anything that happens with that defendant. So we're able to register those victims, and whether or not they want to be in court, at least they'll be given either a phone call, a text message, or an email with any information throughout the process for that specific defendant.
Awesome. Thank you, Serena. I do want to tell our water cooler audience, just please remember that we are discussing very important and sensitive topics. And so if you do need to stop listening, please do so. But please know that there is help out there for you all. There are a lot of resources available. So I'm going to jump back to Amy. Your cases that come across your desk, they come from the police department, correct?
Yes, our criminal cases come from the police department. They do have a certain time that they have to submit those files to us after there's an arrest for a criminal case. And our protective orders, those are coming from the victims themselves. The victims are calling us directly to apply for a protective order. However, we do have several agencies in our county who are assisting us with protective order applications. I'm going to list these real quickly.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And only because if you are not, if you're not that you're not comfortable, but if you're not comfortable, or if you feel like you'd rather go to your local PD, these are the PDs that are helping us with protective order applications. One of the agencies is going to be Mujeres Unidas. They assist our office with protective order applications. The Sheriff's Office as well, Weslaco PD, Edinburgh PD, Palmview PD, Sullivan City, Peñitas, Hidalgo PD, the Rio Grande Valley Empowerment Zone, and La Jolla PD. So if you feel more comfortable going to your local agency so that they can do that application for you, they will submit that application to our office. Or as I mentioned earlier, you can call the number that's listed there, which is the 292-7613, and we can take your application over the phone as well.
That's awesome that different agencies are assisting you all, because I know that there's a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
So Serena, how about the cases? How are they referred to your division?
When it comes to felony cases, eventually they will come to the victims unit. It's just a matter of time. So we have a project that we created within the past year. And Amy's advocates also assist on that, and they prioritize the misdemeanor domestic violence cases, and my staff prioritizes the felony domestic violence cases. So with that is, if a domestic violence crime occurs tonight, we are calling, or today at all, we are calling the victim the next morning. You know, we're not hesitating. We're providing all of those victim services that I mentioned before to that victim. In specific, the protective orders application, only because there are some instances where they may not know, they may not be aware of it, or maybe they aren't a part of the police departments that Amy mentioned earlier. That's where we step in, and we're able to provide them with that information. When I say they eventually come to our office, is because since we have one felony court advocate through every felony district court, all of those cases will eventually go to the grand jury. If they are indicted, then they come to our unit. And at that point, we then pick up all of the charges that I listed earlier. All of those victims then in turn are our victims. So when it comes to any person-to-person crime in the felony division, more than likely our advocates, I think I have 13 advocates and one coordinator, all of them are assisting felony victims.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of information. Very relevant. Thank you. Now, you've mentioned protective orders, but in case people are not aware of what protective orders are, because sometimes I know that they get them confused with a restraining order. Amy, can you clarify that for us in case we don't know the difference?
Yes, of course. So protective orders are going to be for victims of family violence. As I mentioned earlier, sexual assault, stalking, human trafficking, and indecent assault. So unless you fall into one of those categories, you won't be able to apply for a protective order. And if you are not able to apply for a protective order, what you can do is you can try getting a restraining order. They are different. A protective order is an order by the court. And if a respondent who is the person that you filed against is arrested for violating a protective order, that is an offense. That person can go to jail. The difference between the biggest difference is going to be that a restraining order, if a person violates a restraining order, that person is not going to jail. It is not a separate offense. You can try to apply for a restraining order through a family case, either being a divorce or a custody case. So that's how you're going to be able to get a restraining order. Again, the major difference is one of them, if that person violates the order, that person will be going to jail. The other one, you would need to go back to your attorney and have the court hold that person in contempt of court.
And protective orders are free, correct?
Protective orders are free. There is no charge. If you are going to be filing a restraining order through a private attorney, there is a cost for that. One other difference that I forgot to mention is a protective order can be either 2 years for a victim of family violence, or it could be up to a lifetime for all the other offenses that I mentioned, sexual assault, stalking. So it can be up to a lifetime. A restraining order is typically granted for the duration of the time that family case is pending.
Okay. Now, what would be the process if somebody wanted to go apply for a protective order, Amy? Just
so you can call
go over that.
Right. Okay. So right now you can call our office, the number listed there, the 292-7613. So what's going to happen is that one of our advocates assigned here to our unit will be taking that call, and they will go over, excuse me, they will go over that protective order application with you. Excuse me. They are going to take down all your information. It's about a 30-minute call because they do need to take an affidavit from you as well. Once that application is complete, it gets assigned to one of our attorneys here in our office, and there's 6 of us in my unit that review those applications. And we have up to 3 days to contact you to let you know what the status is of that protective order.
Okay, great. That's good to know. For the protective orders, Amy, does the person need to have a police report?
No, you do not need to have a police report. All that we require is that you provide us an affidavit. I know that many victims are afraid to call the police, and it could be for many reasons. You don't want to get the police involved, your immigration status, and things like that. We don't require a police report, although that will help your case, but it's not required. We have filed many protective orders without any type of police report.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, Serena, I would love for you to tell us about the relationship between the police department, crime victim liaisons, and the advocates in your victims unit, because I know that there's a lot of collaboration there.
Yes, Amanda, thank you. And there is, given the fact that we have all of those different projects that we're working on. So what our office does is we try to attempt to have that strong collaboration with every crime victim liaison throughout our county, just to help mold that relationship and have a strong foundation. What I do myself is I host the crime victim liaison monthly meeting, just to help join forces throughout our community and to discuss items, whether that be Senate bills or House bills that have been updated criteria, different prevention events. Whatever the case may be, we really try to be in communications with the crime victim liaisons, because our advocates over here are in constant communication with them. So we do try to let them know, hey, this is something new that our office is doing. Just a heads up, or if you have any questions or if you have a preferred method of contact, let me know. So we do try our best to have the opinions and the mindset of all the crime victim liaisons throughout our county, just so that way we can all flow a little bit better. So with that, we actually try to, we don't try to, our crime victim liaisons throughout the county, they actually reach out to us once incidents happen. So rather us try to contact them ASAP, they're like, hey, this is information that you may want to, to know and that you may benefit from. So we do have that working relationship to where we can just as easily text one of them, call one of them, email one of them, and we know if it's coming from A to B, it may be a little bit urgent. So, and there are times, time sensitive issues that, do need that little extra push. So we do try to have that collaboration with every single crime victim liaison. And for those police departments that are a little bit smaller, that don't have one, our office has offered their services to pick up any of the slack on that end. So all of those smaller PDs that do not have a CVL, they know to contact us, to let me know, give me a call to my cell or to my office line, so that way we can go ahead and contact the victim as soon as possible.
Okay, great. Now, I know earlier you'd mentioned about immigration status, Amy. Does the district attorney's office in general assist victims who are undocumented if they are the victim of a case?
Yes, we do. For protective orders, it's not something that we look at, and for victims of crime, that is not something that we look at either. I don't know if Serena can explain it a little bit more, but I know that our office also assists victims who are undocumented with different types of visas, I believe.
Okay, you want to jump in, Serena?
Yes. So basically, documentation status does not affect the type of victim service that we provide here. You're going to receive top of the line service that we have, whether you're a citizen or not. At the end of the case, so when it's disposed and everything's taken care of, we then are able to assist when it comes to the U visa certification. I believe we have dabbled into T visa, but that's not as popular as the U visas, if you will. But we do try our best to help out. So and there are some qualifications that do need to come with that. We try to encourage those undocumented individuals to be as cooperative as possible throughout the court process, given that that's important, that the nation is actually going to want to know, that immigration court is going to want to know, okay, well, if you were a victim of a crime, did you attempt to drop the charges? Were you uncooperative with the police? Were you assisting the district attorney's office when it came to prosecution? So all of those different things play a factor, and we do try to just let them know, hey, we want to help you. We understand that there have been cases where victims don't want to come forward because of their immigration status, or victims don't want to participate because they're worried that immigration is going to come, or they're going to find them in the courtroom, or whatever the case may be. But to us, that doesn't matter. We are here to seek justice for you in any way, shape, or form that we can. And at the end of the day, once all the cases are disposed, we do try our best to help you just like you helped us.
Right. You mentioned, Serena, about dropping charges. That's also called affidavit of non-prosecution, correct? Can you just briefly tell everybody what that is?
Yes. So an affidavit of non-prosecution is a document that the courts prefer. There are affidavits that you can complete at the police department level, but the document that our judges in Hidalgo County prefer are the affidavit of non-prosecutions through our office. So there's a little bit of a process when it comes to the felony and the misdemeanor divisions, right? So not that you are going to ever be denied of that right. I think that there are just some cases where the severity of the crime and the facts and evidence of the case are just a little bit too severe for us to, for our office to completely drop the charges. It is an option, and that is the most that an individual can complete as a victim. but our office ultimately does have the decision to continue to proceed with that prosecution. And of course, it's not, you know, it's on a case-by-case basis due
Right.
to the fact of an individual's history, individuals I lost my train of thought. The severity of the crime, how many times that has happened. Maybe you're
A
not
lot
even
of different
the
factors.
person. Yeah, there's a lot of different factors.
Right. Yeah.
And again, it's not that our office doesn't want to. It's just that, hey, we need to make sure that you at the end of the day are going to be okay. So we have our advocates handle the process from beginning to end. We receive permission from the assistant district attorneys, and then we proceed with scheduling appointments with COVID-19 protocols in place. So that consists of phone calls. Like Amy mentioned, we're only accepting individuals via appointment. We used to accept walk-ins, but at this time we're not, only because of COVID. So we do
Right.
have a series of questions that we do that we do ask our victims, and then a couple of days later, given that they're free, they come in to do the documentation. And what that consists of is we have a big conference room. There are some plexiglasses that separate us and the victims. Face masks are recommended, not required. And we have hand sanitizer throughout our entire office. So we try to provide safety in every way, shape, or form that we can, not only for ourselves, but for the community.
That's good.
Y'all do a lot, and y'all, I mean, I can't thank you for all the work that you all do to help our community out and making sure that they get the services that they need and should be receiving and providing. So anywho, are there, I know we're getting close over, we've already passed our 30-minute mark, y'all. So are there any parting words that you two would like to share with our audience today, or anybody else that might be watching this in the future?
Trying to unmute.
Okay, you can go first, Amy, and then I'll follow.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to unmute. So I just want to say thank you for having us here today, Amanda and Priscilla. There's a lot of information that we've provided that I believe is beneficial to the victims in our community. And on behalf of our district attorney, thank you to everybody for everything that you do to assist victims of domestic violence. Our contact number is on there if you need to contact my unit, the 7613, or Serena's unit, 7616. We are always here to assist you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to provide a couple of statistics that our office has collected over the past 6 years. So when it comes to victim services from 2015 up to 2021, our office has provided 129,401 victim services throughout our county. And from 2015 to 2021, the number of victims that we have served are 62,712. So in just this year alone, we're barely the 6th of October. And I think, Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, we maybe ran this number in the beginning of October. So we still have 6 more days, and that's a lot. In this year alone, we have served 33,742 victims. So that number continues to increase on a daily basis. And like I mentioned earlier, crime doesn't stop, and neither will we. We will continue to provide the victim services that are needed. And on Amy's end with the prosecution, they will continue to prosecute who they need to alleviate and decrease this number.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
Well, thank you both for joining us today. Besides, of course, like I said, we've had this number up. We have the district attorney's information up here for both Amy and Serena's offices. We also like to share the university resources that we have. So if you all are interested in contacting myself or Amanda or anybody else within our university, up here are their information. You can please call us at any time. We'll be happy to provide you with any information. Even if you say, hey, you know what? I didn't get her number. I didn't get Serena's number. I didn't get Amy's number. By all means, reach out to us. We will provide you that information as well. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for joining us today, Amy and Serena. Lots of great information. Like I said, you all, please, please, please reach out to us. We're here to help you. We're here to provide you with more information and services. If you can't find them, me and Amanda will locate them for you. Amanda, any parting words before we end?
Just thank you so much, Amy and Serena, because I know your days are always booked. So we're very grateful. And also to our UTRGV audience and everybody else who's watching. Remember, this is Hidalgo County. So we will be talking to our victims unit from Cameron County. Yeah, from Cameron County in 2 weeks. And also to the chief prosecutor for the domestic violence in 2 weeks as well. We'll be doing the same thing with Cameron County on October the 20th. So we hope to see you then. And you all just be careful, stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Enjoy y'all's afternoons.
Y'all be safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.